Okay, pretty simple today. I wanted to talk about market sentiments, what I think we're going to be going into with the potential of what some are going to call, I think rather obscurely, the second wave, and the long-term side effects and the general inability for us as individuals to predict things. I think that part is the most exciting part of the conversation, so stick around till the end of the video. But right now, at the beginning of the week, we have seen a very stable market, a much more stable market than one would expect when you see numbers of the increases in cases of COVID-19 around the United States, and when there is bad news for the United States citizen of other countries that are opening their borders but not allowing US passport holders to travel through those countries because of the high infection rates and the general run amok of the COVID-19 response. Now, I don't want to get political. I just want to stay focused on how I feel this is going to affect the markets in the short term. There have been a lot of jobless claims that have been going up, and a lot of people that are realizing now that this is going to take a lot longer than just a few months to recover. And every step we go further into it, it actually becomes harder and harder for us to recover what we had. You know, the CEO of Airbnb came out a little while ago and said, we will never go back to travel the way it was before. And I agree with this sentiment. You know, there's a lot of things that are going to change in a lot of industries, and they may stay that way forever. We're going to be looking at a lot more localization of pretty much everything. You know, we had mentioned this in our earlier videos during the beginning of this, but things like planting a garden, spending time outside, getting to know your community better. These are really, really powerful ways to invest in the next 10 years, because all of this wild run amok traveling to go to conferences, to visit people, to see the next new beach or the coolest waterfall, it's probably gone for a little while. Now, so enjoying where you are is going to become one of the most important investments that you can make. And understanding that you can work online and work anywhere in the world gives you access to opportunities that you might not have had locally before. So this is going to really, I think, push and drive a whole new wave of business development. Now, I've been working with Nicholas Merton from DataDash on a new project that they're building called the DigiFox app. Please download it, give it a try. And I believe companies like this that have a really mission-driven first business model and have built products around how we would achieve that vision, I think are going to really rewrite the way the next 10 years look. So we're at a very precarious moment right now. Market sentiments themselves don't hold any real fundamental structure, right? So we can look at a project like Bitcoin, for an example, and we say this has good fundamentals. Technically speaking, I can see what it provides. But the markets are driven by emotional behavior. So in a moment like this, I've been following the volatility index, or the VIX. For those of you that are part of our private newsletter, you'd know that I've been kind of stubbed that up above paying attention to Bitcoin's price. And I watch the futures for the volatility index as well, because it gives me a fairly immediate response of what a lot of the market is feeling. When things start to get chaotic, people ignore fundamentals and they start to liquidate assets thinking on the longer term. We're going to be moving into a time where people thought we were probably going to go back to normal already, now realizing that it's going to take at least 18 months, if not 5 to 10 years. And this is that exciting abstraction that I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the video, which is our inability as the human species to understand unknown unknowns, right? There's a lot of things we know in life that can screw with us. A pandemic happened to be one of them. Nassim Taleb makes jokes that it wasn't even a black swan. We knew a pandemic was coming. That's why so many people had been doing drills, practicing different ideas, seeing what we could do, and it all failed miserably. In the moment that we needed it, anybody that had been thinking forwardly about the pandemic, it failed miserably. So it might as well have been a black swan. But more importantly, this was something we still saw coming, and we still couldn't react all that well to it. I know a lot of people in the markets are having a hard time understanding that these are countries that have very different languages, very different cultural backgrounds. They've all stopped their borders and travels to other people. This is the first time we've ever locked up our economy like this, and it is going to leave dramatic, long-lasting results. But what those results are is generally hard to figure out. So some of the best things we can do as an investor is to be patient, to be calm, find the projects that we're interested in, the mission statements, the teams that make those products, and continually look for the driving factors, because right now market sentiment could tip us into a much deeper bear market. It could put Bitcoin anywhere between $8, $6, $4, $1,500, right? That's if market sentiments get torn apart. That could happen, right? We have to understand that that could happen. Is it likely? Maybe not. Especially the further we go, the less likely it is that that happens. So if the Fed just starts printing money and eases the market sentiment, which is what we've seen, stock market recoveries flying through the roof, companies who are saying they're bankrupt like Hertz being bailed out by the government, United Airlines being bailed out by the Federal Reserve. There's a big disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street right now. And if the American Federal Reserve doesn't do something to try to quell that, which I'm sure they will, I'm sure we're going to see more stimulus, more printing of money and giving it to the people. I think these are going to be some of the driving causes for why the next 10 years, the blockchain space is absolutely explosive. I am fascinated by what technology can do in a deflationary nature, because it means things like cell phones are now mobile media production applications where I can produce content, or anybody that has access to these tools can produce content and send it all around the world. We have democratized almost everything, and the financial sectors and the governance sectors will be eaten by technology over the next 10, 15, 25 years as technology just annihilates all value. Anyways, this is Tea with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us today. I'm just gonna sit here and meditate for the last 5 or 10 minutes of the video. And then that way, anyone that likes the sound of the water and the chilling birds, I'll share that with you guys. That way the videos are longer too, so I can trick YouTube into thinking that I make 20-minute videos. How about that?